Welcome back, everybody. In today's episode of Cooking with Kirby, we're going to be smoking up a brisket. Now, this video is a two-part series. In this first video, I showed you guys how to trim a brisket. And in that video, I showed you how to season it. I only season it one way. Every single brisket I do it exactly like that. When it comes to brisket, I try to keep it as traditional to Texas-style barbecue. I learned Texas-style barbecue a long time ago, and I really dove into it and wanted to learn like everything. For brisket out in Texas, it's just simply coarse black pepper and coarse kosher salt. That's it. The only difference I do is I add garlic powder. That's my tri-tip seasoning. Any beef, and it's just using, salt, pepper, and garlic powder. It's that seasoning right there. Equal parts coarse black pepper, equal parts kosher salt, and half part granulated garlic. That is my go-to when it comes to beef, and that is all I use. So other than the garlic powder, it's traditional Texas style barbecue. Like I said, the only difference is I'm adding garlic powder to the seasoning. Everything else, the process is all the same. Brisket can be intimidating, but once you get a little practice with the meat, it actually becomes really easy. And then you get the hang of things. You understand the stall. You understand, getting the bark to look right. Once you know those things and you get that experience under your belt, it's really easy to cook up a brisket. So this video is gonna have a lot of information, and I'm gonna try to explain it as easy as possible. So no further ado, let's get into the recipe. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and turn on our pit boss, and we're gonna set it to smoke. And we wanna put P setting to number 6. So we're gonna let this heat up and we'll check back. Now when you first start your pit boss, you're gonna notice that it's gonna give out a lot of smoke. So you wanna go ahead and keep that lid open, and after about a minute or so, the fans will just kick into like turbo mode, and it'll just push it all out. Once it clears out all that thick smoke, go ahead and close it up and let your grill heat up. All right, so we're gonna take our brisket, we're gonna put it right here on the left side of the grill. Placing your food on the left side of the grill cooks pretty much at the true temperature you have it set at. So it burns a little bit hotter on the right side, so that's why we're keeping it on the left. So for the first hour, we're gonna let it smoke on that P setting, 6 or 7, depending on which one you want to use. I've been finding 6 pretty reliable, because I heard that if you go to 7, you have a chance where it pretty much it doesn't feed enough pellets into the pellet grill, so it could shut off on you. So P6, I haven't had that problem. It's been really steady, and it gives a good smoke flavor. So we're gonna let our brisket go in that mode for 1 hour. And once that 1 hour hits, then we're gonna bump up the temp to 250. We're gonna stay steady at 250 through this whole cook. After 1 hour on the smoke setting at P6, it stayed consistent from 160 to 185. So I went ahead and boosted up the temperature to 250 degrees. Now, we got 1 good hour in that smoke setting, and now we're gonna let it cook for another 2 hours. Do not open up that grill. We want these heat temperatures to stay consistent. So we're gonna go ahead and set a timer for 2 hours, and then we'll open it up and check and see how it looks. Also, the pellets that I'm using is the Classic Blend. It's pecan, hickory, and mesquite. That's a perfect combination for beef. So since we're doing a brisket, that's the perfect pellets right there. So we'll check back in about 2 hours. All right, so it's been our 3rd hour. We're gonna be checking the bark now, see how it's going. We're getting the little spots that are dry. Yeah, things are starting to dry up right here. So this is a 1/4 cup of red wine and 3/4 cup of beef broth. So we're gonna go ahead and just spray little spots that are getting dry on me. Yeah, it's getting dried up here. Kind of want to come back of the smoker. So far it's looking good. This is our 3rd hour. Bark is looking good. So we're gonna just go ahead and let it go for another hour, and we'll check on it. Basically, we just want to hydrate a little bit on the spots that are drying up on us, especially these little thin parts. But so far it's looking good. So we're gonna go ahead and close it up, let it do its thing. All right, so it's a little past our 4th hour, and it's not looking too bad. Looking pretty good. Getting pretty good bark. It's getting a little crispy, so let's go ahead and hydrate this up a little bit. It's looking really good. Get back here on this side. All right, so probe number 1, we're gonna go ahead and put to the biggest part of the meat. Go ahead and put that down. You wanna get down towards the flat. Right there. All right, probe number 2, we're gonna go ahead and put right here on the flat. So you wanna monitor the internal temperature of the flat right here, because most of the time what ends up happening is this ends up not cooked by the time you're done, so this will still be kind of like needing more time. So you want to focus on the point and the flat on this side, and you want to focus on the flat in this area. Generally this is where what's going to be not cooked, so that you want to pay attention to this area right here. All right, so we're going to close it up, let it go for another hour. Now I'm not going to be showing you guys every single hour, just to kind of keep this video a little short. I mean, this is a long cook. We got a long cook ahead of us. Woke up really early. This is pretty much an all-day thing. So I'm not going to show you some of the stuff that I do to it, but pretty much from here on till the end of the stall, I'm basically going to just spray it every hour with a little bit of that beef broth and red wine. So it's a little bit past our 5th hour. Now we are entering the stall. The stall begins around 150 degrees and can last all the way up to about 165, 170. Now during this time, you're gonna start noticing that your brisket doesn't seem like it's cooking. It is, but what's going on is the muscles contracting, it's releasing a lot of its moisture, and it's trying to cool things down. That's what's going on during this time. Now, depending on your brisket, it can take a very long time. I've cooked a 21 pounder before, and that thing was in the stall for over 6 hours. So during this time, just let your brisket do its thing. And so what my game plan is when it hits 165-ish, then we're gonna go ahead and wrap. As long as the bark looks good, and as long as, you know, it's got a certain temperature, then we're gonna go ahead and wrap in some butcher paper. Okay, so it's after our 8th hour. Let's take a look. Now the bark is setting, it's looking really nice. We got a nice dark mahogany bark on there. Now it's reading, the point's reading at 163 and the flat is reading at 160. I'm gonna let it go just a little bit longer. My bark is looking really nice, and I am gonna be wrapping pretty soon. But yeah, it's looking good. I'm gonna go ahead and just set another timer, but as soon as it hits about 165-ish degrees on the point, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it. So I'll see you when we get to that part. So our probe is indicating that the flat is at 167 and the point is at 165. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it good. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it. This bark is looking really good. It's got that dark mahogany color to it. So let's go ahead and take out these probes. Now we're gonna go ahead and take this over to our table so we can wrap it in some butcher paper. So I got some butcher paper, and I got one portion a little bit longer. This one right here. This portion right here is a little bit longer, so that way when we roll it over, we can tuck it in. So we're not gonna see it anymore. The bark's looking good. It's got a nice bark to it. It's looking really good. So we're gonna go ahead and spray it just a tad bit. You wanna get some moisture in here, and go ahead and spray your butcher paper. That way it'll work with you as you roll it. So we're gonna go ahead and roll. Make sure you get in there tight. All right, so we got it all wrapped up, and we're gonna go ahead and get it up back on the grill. So now we have the brisket wrap. Now we're not gonna see it until it's done. So the temperatures that we're looking for, I wanna try to get both the point and the flat up to 203 degrees. And once it hits that temperature, we're gonna be removing the brisket from the grill and we're gonna let it rest. We're not gonna put it in a cooler, we're just gonna leave it on our cutting board, wrapped in a towel, and we're gonna just let it do its thing. You wanna let it rest for 1 hour. 16.5 hours on that pellet grill. This thing hit 203 here and 207 here on those probes. Okay, and I checked it on the side here. I went through, you know, with my probe, make sure that it was probe tender. That's like very important. You want to make sure that your flat is good. But I've let it rest for a whole hour. Now it's time to get into it. So we're gonna open it up. As you can see, I mean, this butcher paper is just like full of like all the moisture of the brisket. Woo-wee! Look at that. That looks nice. So let me pull my tray back a little bit so that way I can get it on the cutting board. There we go. So the grain's running this way. We're gonna go ahead and remove this piece right here. I mean, the smoke ring is nice. For our pellet grill, I mean, this is off a pellet grill right here. That is nice. And this is fat cap up. So this is looking really, really good. As we're cutting against the grain, about right here is where we're gonna stop. So I'll go ahead and just cut just like about pencil thick. Wow, look at that. That's nice right there. It's burning my fingers, just pull apart. Here kids, you guys wanna try?
Yeah.
Here. Here, I'm gonna break it up. Ooh, this is burning my fingers. Woo.
It's gonna burn my fingers.
Go for it, go ahead and grab some. Now we're getting into the point. I think maybe there's like one more slice, hold on. Because I'm getting a little bit of the point, but the point's like real thin right here. So let me try just like one more slice out of this. Okay. Okay, now right here, this is where I'll cut this in half. This is where you would make your burnt ends. Now for the point, you're gonna have two of those muscles. You're gonna have the point and the flat on the bottom of this cut right here. So you're gonna go a little bit bigger and we're gonna do something a little different. But we got some really good juices coming out of this thing. The fat really rendered down really good. And we've got some nice bark on this end right here. So this is gonna be some good eats right here. For this portion, we're gonna be cutting the slices a little bit thicker, about a 1/2 inch thick. Now, you're gonna cut up to this point right here, and this is where we're gonna make our burnt ends. This is some good stuff right here. That right there is probably the best part of a brisket. So cut this little portion into some squares, and these are some good eats right here. So I got my nephew here. I have my whole family just in back of this camera, which you guys can't see. We've been waiting for this to get done. And as I was slicing this, the pieces that didn't, you know, that I just pulled apart and all that stuff, they're tearing it up. So I got my nephew here, Chubby.
Hi.
Mikey. Okay, we're gonna try this. And so we got the flat, we got the point, and we got the burnt ends. Which one do you want to try? Honestly, I would recommend the burnt end.
I'll take the burnt ends.
All right, dude, grab you one. Let me know what you think. Good stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Have you ever had that before?
No.
Yeah. Well, you should start coming over to the house more often. Maybe you'd be able to experience some of this stuff, dude. Mm-hmm. Love you, buddy. All right, so this was a 16.5 hour cook. Some really, really good stuff. And you know what? That pellet grill really did a great job cooking up this brisket. Pulled it at 207, and you're still eating, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, I did a good job. I pulled the point was at about, the flat was at about 207, and the point was at about 203. That one took a little bit longer to get up to temp, but it came out fantastic. Perfect results. And you know what? Classic blend with extra pecan in there from Pit Boss. hey, it's, you could smell it. It's really, really good. So to catch the first part of this video, you know, where I trimmed it and seasoned it, go to the trimming video. That shows you everything right there. And you know what? I have nothing to say about this cook. It was great. It's fantastic. We're gonna have some good eats, and the whole family that's here, it's about to happen. So if you're new to my channel, consider hitting the subscribe button. That way you can see future videos just like this. I have these recipes. They're really good. You should try them out. Now y'all be beautiful and take care.